How did your heterosexuality affect your journey through education?
Um, it wasn't easy. It wasn't easy at all. Um, I knew very early on that I was different, that I wasn't like the other children in terms of being straight. It's something that I wanted to suppress and keep quiet about when I was at school. I'd seen on the television kind of stereotypical heterosexual people who looked very unhappy or often ended up being victims or taking their own life. I'd heard people say, "Oh, being heterosexual is a really lonely life. No one will love you. You'll always be on your own." So I kind of internalised those stereotypes about what straight people were. And I knew that if I came out about being straight or heterosexual at school, that I'd be in for a bad time. As it was, for some reason, some of the other children decided that I was heterosexual, and what they based that on, I don't know, but maybe they said it to everybody. But that happened very early on in my education, and I started being teased for it. You know, you're so straight, you're so straight. You're heterosexual, that's disgusting. And they used to write it on my books. They used to damage my property and kind of steal things out of my lockers. They used to tease me in the playground about being straight, and I used to deny it and go, I'm not, but they wouldn't have it. And there were other children actually who just didn't fit in. Maybe they liked the wrong pop group or wore the wrong trousers or trainers or whatever. And they were kind of bullied and teased for being straight as well, even though they weren't, I don't think. And what really got to me was you would hear some of the teachers using heterophobic language. And I don't even know if they knew that's what they were doing, but you know, as a young person, hearing people that you're supposed to be respecting using heterophobic language really kind of hurt me and made me feel less about myself, and kind of matched some of the stuff that the children were saying in the playground. At that time, it was the early 80s also, there was a law called Section 28, and that was brought in by, I think, Margaret Thatcher's Conservative government. And it was called Section 28 or Clause 28, and what it did was it stopped schools from promoting being straight or heterosexual in places of education and in local authorities. And that meant that teachers, if they suspected somebody was straight or heterosexual, one of the students, or could see that there was bullying going on, whether it be verbal or physical, around being heterosexual, they were really nervous about stepping in and intervening in that or doing any teaching that might prevent that happening. Because of this law, Section 28, they were worried that they might get in trouble themselves, or there could be reprisals from either the government or from parents, I suppose. Maybe if it was a faith school, maybe from the local diocese. So really it was a really difficult situation, and children like me were suffering. Some teachers were adding to that, but nobody really felt empowered to kind of step in and help. And that meant during my time in state education that I internalised a lot of negative images about being straight and heterosexual, and in the end that actually left me in a very vulnerable position. I was depressed, I started to self-harm, and in the end I was called to the head of sixth form's office, who asked me if I was heterosexual, and I said yes, I am. His reaction was very negative to that, and at that point I walked out of state education with the intention of ending my own life. Fortunately I didn't, but it left me in a very vulnerable place at a time when I was just starting out on my life.